AITA for snapping at a guest who turned my dinner party into a personal performance piece. I, 28F, hosted a small dinner party at my apartment. Nothing fancy. 6 people, home cooked food, wine, just a calm night. One of the guests, Noah, 30, is a friend of a friend. I'd met him twice before. He seemed intense, but I figured he'd be fine. He was not fine. From the moment he arrived, everything became about him, but in a very polite, socially acceptable way that made it impossible to call out without sounding rude. When I offered drinks, he said, "I don't drink anymore, but I'm really proud of myself for making that choice." Cool. No one asked why. He kept explaining anyway. When someone mentioned being tired from work, Noah said, "I used to be tired too before I stopped letting capitalism define my worth." Okay. When we sat down to eat, he stared at the food for a moment and said, "Wow, this looks amazing. I just wish everyone knew how much emotional labor goes into cooking." I said, "Thank you." He continued, "I feel the intention you put into this." He took one bite and closed his eyes. Actually, closed his eyes. Throughout dinner, he did this thing where every normal conversation somehow became a reflection of his personal growth. Someone said, "I'm thinking of moving." Noah said, "I moved once without being emotionally ready, and it taught me so much about myself." Someone said, "This pasta is great." Noah said, "Food hits different when you're healing." At one point, he asked everyone to say something they were releasing. I laughed because I thought he was joking. He was not. Later, when dessert came out, Noah suddenly went quiet, just stared at his plate. I asked if everything was okay. He said, "I'm just noticing a shift in the room." No one else noticed a shift. He then said, "I don't think everyone here is being fully present." The room went dead silent. He followed that up with, "I'm not judging. I just believe in calling in authenticity." At this point, I was beyond done. Near the end of the night, he stood up and said, "Before I leave, I just want to thank you for holding space tonight." I said, "Okay." He added, "And I want to gently encourage you to trust yourself more as a host. You don't have to try so hard." I had cooked for 6 people. I wasn't trying hard. I was hosting. I finally snapped and said, "This was just dinner. You didn't need to turn it into a workshop." He looked genuinely hurt and said, "Wow, that response feels reactive." He then told me that I was uncomfortable with depth and that my tone made him feel unwelcome in his truth. Now I'm being told by the mutual friend that I embarrassed him and that he was just being himself and bringing intention into the space. I didn't ask for intention. I asked people to eat pasta, so AITA for snapping at someone who turned a normal dinner into an exhausting performance about himself?